Thank you, Delon. What a pleasure it is to be here this evening with all of you. As stated, my name is Alondra, and I will be reading an original poem entitled Highest Praises. And real quick, I'd just love to give a shout out to YAF for inviting me to be a part of this incredible event and just for the amazing work that they do. Highest praises. What does it feel like to be the lungs of the third most gentrified city in the land of the free? The gentle rise and fall in the body of America's womb, this hallmark card city. Before you pull into Jackson, I think I don't remember, feels like forever it seems. If you take a peek outside, you see the graffiti sign, we have nothing left to lose but our chains. I stay wondering who tagged that line. I searched it up and learned the lineage of the saying, and to this day I be praying the train will screech to a stop and let me take a pic. Or if I can jump off real quick and have someone snap a flick of me in front of it, this is my historical Boston. Better than Beacon. Because I feel like those people were my heroes, and I'm tired of making heroes out of people that were the reason for my ancestral demise, and old men buried in the commons is not my idea of a field trip worth taking anymore. No disrespect. I wonder to what hands that onyx-colored spray paint can belonged. To what opaque soul remains in chains by pain since the first death and completely crumbled to ashy ruins by the third one they ever saw. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe it wasn't that deep. But isn't it always that deep when young bodies are never worthy enough to be named on TV so these people can see, then say these black and brown young men are nothing but thugs, these slugs adding insult to injury with their snake eyes, say their names. Say their names and write them on their favorite swing, or hangout spot, or corner store, somewhere only a loved one would know to go to find a piece of them tucked gently in the normal, like finding money in your washed clothes, hidden monuments for these babies I never knew but always loved. Promising on dead dogs, bloody tears dropping on grieved out gravestones. This pain is hereditary, and this fury is too. Deep-rooted in the veins like the drugs their parents passed to their systems, these adrenaline addicts I laugh with who are so proud of the city they claim to hate enough to stay drastic stuff like NY is a little Boston, and I like that. Because Lord knows we deserve to claim something that feels real enough, even if the pride is sand in our palms, the false confidence boost is comforting. Youth that say, I'm a man at 16, sleeping on benches on the side of the streets in Dudley, selling weed since 13. Young women that visit graves and then visit poles and walls in Jackson and Mission where their boyfriends were murdered. Youth that write their name of their mixtapes and Snapchats on bus seats hoping to be noticed. Youth that got handcuffed in school at 7 because of mental illness and threw a tantrum out of frustration. Youth that never had a gym and hand soap in the bathroom. Youth expected to get it all done and still be told it isn't enough. Youth that were abandoned by immigrant parents and high school is a dream. Youth that ask me if I'd cry if they die on the streets. But we still rise and fall. We still breathe even though these lungs are full of smoke. We keep this city pumping because if it wasn't for my old classmates sitting in those community town hall meetings, making our voices heard, because if it wasn't for small organizations that get shut down in 10 years or so because of lack of funding, the only pop-up store I'll always show out for, because if it wasn't for youth that were praised for 10 seconds and then never protected, because if it wasn't for the teachers that stayed after school for hours, crying real love, sneaking kids that haven't eaten in 3 days food, because if it wasn't for my friends who sat in Jackson with me and held me as I had my anxiety attacks, if it wasn't for them, people like this, a hell of a lot more of us would be dead. But we shouldn't need a few good Samaritans to solve our bigger problems, but that's another poem for another time. Every so often you see us linked together like Cubans, the best ice America's ever seen, hanging from the mother city's neck. We preach on the same porches we got our hairs braided with beads. We work in the institutions they told us were against us and changed their rules. We lift signs of protest in the same beacon they took us at 9 and 10 to sightsee. We love on this open flesh and stitch them up to scars, story by story, hood by hood, my homage to Boston youth. Soldiers that cradle these cities' wounds. Thank you.
My goodness. I'm over here crying, woman. I'm over here crying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have so many questions for you. First of all, can we find that poem online somewhere? Is that published?
Yes, it is. There's a video that is recorded and it's on YouTube and it's titled Highest Praises.
Highest Praises, Alondra Bobadilla. I'm going to find it and share that with everyone. I love poetry because good writing, good poetry takes something that I understand and really makes it specific, right? You gave us, I mean, I'm talking to the poet, what do I know? But you gave us specific images and you're like no years old. You know what I mean? But you've lived, right? You've lived and you gave us that experience that like we don't have, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Dumb question. How long did it take you to write that poem?
It took me to be completely honest, 15 minutes, and it's not that edited either. So
15 minutes?
Yeah, it was something I was really passionate about. So it's
Wow.
easy to write about something that you love and that really speaks to you.
Wow, man, you're giving me a lesson right now. You're giving me a lesson as from artist to artist. You're giving me such a lesson. I'm not even paying attention to the people. I just want to talk to you, lady. For real, for real. So thank you again. And Highest Praises, we can find that on YouTube. Alondra Bobadilla, right?
Yes.
Man, you have so much ahead of you. I cannot wait to see what happens for you in the future. Thank you so much for being here tonight.